All right, so we're gonna see if we get it right. If I can get it right this time. Um, because I don't know. I was just on here and I was supposedly live, but I couldn't find the live stream anywhere. Like I couldn't find it on YouTube or anything. So I guess I wasn't live. I'm not sure. But let's try this again. This story comes to us by way of Kansas City, Missouri. Um, I'm actually not going to read this article because there's another that has better detail. And here we go. Share this tab instead. Now this article has a lot more detail than the original one, so I'm kind of glad the other lives messed up. So here we go. This is Adair R. Fish, a 43-year-old monster from Kansas City, Missouri. The police say a child's death from malnutrition and neglect has been ruled a homicide. This article is dated December 6th, 2022. Police said that a child's death more than a month ago has been ruled a homicide. Keep that in mind, more than a month ago. According to court records, Kansas City police responded to the 5700 block of St. John Avenue on November 3rd for a report of a dead 4-year-old girl. When they arrived at an apartment, officers found two children, one dead, the other non-responsive. The mother, 43-year-old Adair R. Fish, reportedly told police dispatch that one of the children had been dead for several days. The Jackson County Prosecutor's Office said the mother was the legal guardian of the child and had care, custody, and control of their health and well-being. The doctor diagnosed the dead girl suffered from malnutrition and neglect. The doctor stated her weight was the expected amount for a 20-month-old child. So her weight was comparable to a child more than 2 years her junior. Ivy House was found dead 6 days before she would have turned 5 years old. That is so sad. A probable cause document stated the apartment was cluttered with trash, debris, and old food. Trash in places was 2 to 5 feet high off the floor. God. The Kansas City Police Department stated the medical examiner's office has determined the child died as the result of a homicide, and that the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office has filed charges. Okay. This one, I don't think there was anything additional in this article that I wanted to go over. Just let me skim it real quick. No, this article basically has the same information. So what I want to read to you is I want to share the charging document with you, or the the request for a warrant. And it is styled State of Missouri versus Adair R. Fish complaint warrant request. Count one, abuse or neglect of a child resulting in death under, and it gives a section code with no sexual contacts. The prosecuting attorney of the County of Jackson, State of Mississippi, upon information, State of Missouri, I always do that, upon information and belief, charges that the defendant, in violation of section code, committed the Class A felony of abuse or neglect of a child, punishable upon conviction under section code, in that on or about October 31st, 2022 and November 3rd, 2022 in the County of Jackson, State of Missouri, the defendant was responsible for the care, custody, and control of child 1 or child a child less than 18 years of age, and neglected child A by failing to provide adequate nutrition and hydration to child A and or failing to seek medical attention for child A, and child A died as a result of injuries sustained from this conduct. The range of punishment for Class A felony is imprisonment in the custody of the Missouri Department of Corrections for a term of not less than 10 years and not to exceed 30 years, or life in prison. In count, I wonder if in Missouri 30 years is considered life. Because in some places it's like 25 years is considered a life sentence. Um, but then again, some places like don't have parole options, so I don't know. But I just wonder if 30 years is considered life there. And if you know, drop it down in the comments and let me know. Count two, abuse or neglect of a child, serious emotional or physical injury, no sexual contact. The prosecuting attorney of the county of Jackson, state of Missouri, upon information and belief, charges that the defendant, in violation of section code, committed the Class B felony of abuse or neglect of a child, punishable upon conviction under section code, in that on or about October 31st and November 3rd, 2022, in the county of Jackson, state of Missouri, the defendant was responsible for the care, custody, and control of child B, a child less than 18 years of age, and neglected child B by failing to provide adequate nutrition and hydration to child B, and or failing to seek medical attention for child B. And as a result, defendant knowingly caused child B to suffer physical injury, and the injury inflicted was serious physical injury on child B. The range of punishment for the Class B felony is imprisonment in the custody of Missouri Department of Corrections for a term of years not less than 5 years and not to exceed 15 years, without eligibility for probation or parole until the defendant has served not less than 5 years of such sentence. All right, and this is going to be about the 4-year-old. Count three, endangering the welfare of a child, first degree, death of child, no sexual contact. The prosecuting attorney of the county of Jackson, state of Missouri, upon information and belief, charges that the defendant, in violation of section code, committed the Class A felony of endangering the welfare of a child in the first degree, punishable upon conviction under section code, in that on or about October 31st, 2022, and November 3rd, 2022, the county of Jackson, state of Mississippi, the Missouri, keep saying Mississippi, the defendant knowingly acted in a manner that created a substantial risk to the life, body and health of child a child less than 17 years of age, by failing to provide child A with adequate nutrition, and this offense resulted in death to child A. The range of punishment for a Class A felony is imprisonment in the custody of Missouri Department of Corrections for a term not less than 10 years and not to exceed 30 years, or life in prison. Count four, endangering the welfare of a child, first degree, serious physical injury, no sexual contact. So that's going to be child B, the living child. The prosecuting attorney of the county of Jackson, state of Missouri, upon information and belief, charges that the defendant, in violation of section code, committed the Class B felony of endangering the welfare of a child in the first degree, punishable upon conviction under the section code, in that on or about October 31st and November 3rd, 2022, the county of Jackson, state of Missouri, the defendant knowingly acted in a manner that increased a substantial risk to life, body, and health of child B, a child less than 17 years old, by failing to provide child B adequate nutrition and hydration, and this offense resulted in serious physical injury to child B. The range of punishment for the Class B felony is imprisonment in the custody of the Missouri Department of Corrections for a term of years not less than 5 and not to exceed 15. And again, it's now State versus Adair, R. Fish. The facts that form this basis is the facts that form the basis for this information and belief are contained. Hey, Kai Mojo, are contained in the statement of facts filed contemporaneously herewith, made a part thereof, and submitted as a basis upon which this court may find existence of probable cause. So this is basically the probable cause statement. Now, this next part that I'm going to read, this is the actual probable cause statement from the officer who filed the warrant request. I, Detective Danny Thomas, knowing that false statements on this form are punishable by law, state that the facts contained herein are true. I have probable cause to believe that on 11/3/2022, and it gives the address in Kansas City, Jackson County, Missouri, Adair R. Fish, a white female, date of birth 11/28/79, committed one or more criminal offenses. The facts of put in this belief are as follows. Abuse, neglect of a child. On 11/3 at approximately 4:29 p.m., officers of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department were dispatched to an address on St. John Avenue in Kansas City, Jackson County, Missouri, in regard to a deceased juvenile and a second juvenile who was unresponsive. The 911 call was placed by Adair Fish, and during the call with police and paramedics, she stated that one of, I don't know if it's the child's name there or what, but one of the children has been dead for several days and had maggots on her. God have mercy, it just makes my stomach turn. Upon arrival, officers encountered Kansas City Fire Department members who were already on scene and made entry to the apartment. The firefighters contacted Adair Fish, the white female, the children's mother, in the residence along with the other child, and I guess that's going to be the other child's name and age or date of birth, and the remains of her. That's going to be daughter. I know that the deceased child was a 4-year-old girl. So the remains of her daughter, and I'm guessing that's going to be her name and birth date. Fish and the living child were transported to an area hospital for treatment, and a search warrant was obtained for the apartment. During the execution of the search warrant, the apartment was discovered to be cluttered with trash, debris, old food, and miscellaneous other items. The trash was approximately 2 to 5 feet high off the floor. There was a strong odor of death in the air, and insect activity was present. Oh, God. The deceased child was discovered amongst the debris in an advanced state of decomposition. Lord have mercy. And was wrapped in blankets. The skin was marbled and had skin slippage and insect activity. Adair Fish, mother of this child, is the legal guardian of the children and had care, custody, and control of their health and well-being. The medical examiner noted in the preliminary anatomic diagnosis that the deceased had cachexia with absence of omental adipose tissue. Cachexia is defined as general physical wasting and malnutrition, usually associated with chronic disease. Let me see what omentum adipose tissue is. I know it's got something to do with like the fatty layer of like the diaphragm or something. Let me see what it is. Omental adipose tissue. What is it? Let me type what is omental, a specialized adipose tissue in the peritoneal cavity that is connected by mesothelial layer to the spleen, stomach, transverse, colon, and pancreas. Okay, so that doesn't tell me much because I'm not a doctor. So tomorrow I'm going to ask my nurse daughter what omental adipose tissue is, and she's going to explain it to me. And then I might tell y'all what it means too, if it's not too gross. All right. Medical records for for blank were received from CMH, and the doctor diagnosed the following: one, neglect, consisting of severe malnutrition, likely chronic, medical, dental, and environmental; psychological maltreatment, isolation, concern for lack of emotionally responsive caregiver, abnormal attachment behaviors; concern for child physical abuse, bruising. So this must be about the living child. The doctor also noted currently available information obtained from chart review raises concern for several medical and nutritional for severe medical and nutritional neglect. Blake was acutely dehydrated and hypoglycemic on initial presentation. Blake has known diagnosis of chromosome 18p deletion. Okay, let me see what that is because I really want to know. So she's abusing and neglecting children with known health issues. Okay, Mysonomy 18p refers to a chromosomal disorder resulting from the deletion of all or part of the short arm of the chromosome 18. It says the incidence estimated to be about 1 in 50,000 live born infants. The commonest form of the disorder, the dysmorphic syndrome, is very moderate and non-specific. Okay, so it seems like it's a chromosomal disorder that's not very like dangerous or anything, but it might cause some problems. Documentation from her genetics visits and discussions with genetics on call today notes that although children with this syndrome often have feeding concerns, they would not be expected to have severe late onset growth arrest. Wow, so this baby was malnourished to the point that it actually stunted her growth or his growth, or I don't know if it's a him or her. Blake has gained just over 4 pounds in the almost 3 year period since Blake last weighed in at CMH system. This baby barely gained 4 pounds in 3 years. Okay. Her current weight of 10.8 kilograms would place her near the average expected weight of a 20-month-old. So the living child is a girl too. She had two girls. Blake current BMI Z score is less than -4, indicative of severe malnutrition that is likely chronic in nature with acute worsening and evidenced by blank dehydration and hypoglycemia. In the near term, remains at risk. In the near term, blank remains at risk of refeeding syndrome, a potentially fatal complication with dangerous electrolyte and fluid shifts. Blank remains hospitalized for slow deficiencies, impaired immune function, abnormal growth, and poor brain growth and development, which increases her risk of permanent negative effects on adult height and weight, cognitive deficits, and behavioral health problems. So this woman was really messing this child up completely. I mean, it's weird when you start reading stuff like this, and I ain't gonna lie, like me, I think of dehydration and malnutrition. My brain just doesn't go to all the like how really, really dangerous and how badly what sounds like simple, okay, not eating and not drinking, the effects that it can have on the body at this level. I mean, it's stunning growth, it's causing brain damage. It's like, wow. I mean, she should be charged with torturing these kids. Adair Fish had previously lost custody of blank, but had them returned to her custody on 11/15/19. A dare fish is responsible for the death of blank and the severe condition of blank through neglect and or abuse. So there you have it. This is my first official case for 2023, and I will be following this one up. This is crazy, man. It never ceases to amaze me how it is that I bet you she wasn't hungry. I bet she was eating good. I bet she was eating and taking baths and drinking sodas and everything else she could get her hands on. Because in her mugshot, she don't look like she'd have missed a damn meal. I'm not lying. I don't. I mean, really, how do you sit there and you eat and you drink and enjoy snacks and all this other good stuff and not feed your kids? And by the advanced state of malnourishment and dehydration that these kids were suffering, this was more than a case of not sharing your Twinkies. This was like intentional. It had to be, unless she has some kind of mental illness that keeps her from, I don't know, functioning correctly as a parent. But I just don't see that because they gave the kid back to her. They gave both of the kids back to her. So I don't think that there's going to be a problem with her mentally that would be a sufficient. Yeah, I don't know. She looked like she might be, but looks can be deceiving. But I don't know. I can't think of one mental illness whose symptom is refuse to feed your child. Like I said, she don't look like she was missing their meal. Matter of fact, she's working on a double chin, so I know she ain't missing their meal. I can't talk. I got like double, triple chin. But anyway, yeah, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, this is the first official case for me for this year. I will be following through on this to find out what happens in court, any sentences that she gets, any mental health diagnoses, or if she starts playing some tea stout games about how she's crazy and she needs to go to the psych ward and all this kind of stuff. So, we will see what goes on with this. And this right here gives a looks like it's talking about a court date. Let me see if I can see where her next court date is real quick. And if I can't, then I'll just look it up and follow up on it. Says it was put okay, so that's old because it was pushed to some Thursday in December. But I'll find a way to look it all up. Yeah, guys, I don't know. Hopefully, this year will bring us more stories with happy endings. More stories like Kayer and Kason reunited safe. All the stuff popping up. All right. Happy New Year, and I'll talk to y'all later in the day.